Frequent Miler on the Air starts now. Today's main event, easy, top tier Hyatt elite status. Should you go for it?
Interesting
Nick and
question.
I will be debating that question today on Black Shirt Day.
Black Shirt Day. That's right. Did you get the memo? Are you wearing your black shirt today?
We are both wearing our black shirts. And so hopefully anyone listening to this is also wearing their black shirt for today.
I hope so. Hopefully you read our minds.
Right. Because if you need to, pause the recording and go get your black shirt on. It's Black Shirt Day. But first, let's get into the giant mailbag. We have an email from a reader named John. And I'm not going to read the whole email, but I'm going to read the subject heading of the email, which is the Shop Your Way Rewards Mastercard the new king of cash back? In his email, he goes on to say that he has gotten so many promotions for cash back on this card. So the card normally earns Shop Your Way mostly useless, Shop Your Way points as rewards for spend. But he gets promotions for like cash back, spend this much, get $30 back, spend this much, get 5% back, whatever. And a whole bunch of them overlapped. And so he spent about $600 at Kroger and got a full 20% cash back on top of getting Shop Your Way points as well.
That's amazing. That harkens back to the days of the Sears Shop Your Way, where you'd get like 100% back in points and then roll the points into something else that gets you 100% back in points, right? I mean, like, whoa, that 20% plus you got whatever the Shop Your Way points are worth. Obviously not much, but something free.
Yeah. And actually, the Shop Your Way points aren't as worthless as they used to be, because you can use them to buy like third-party gift cards. So you can sort of turn them into things you really want instead of very hard to use Shop Your Way points.
Funny story on that. I just finally sold some of my free Shop Your Way stuff this past weekend. They were attachments for a drill. And my wife was like, I don't even know what we paid for those. And I was like, I don't either. It was some Shop Your Way points, and like they were free with points, and we got more points, and I have no idea what else we got. But finally, 6 years later, I sold the stuff at a garage sale.
Right. That was like me. I think it was about 6 months ago that I unloaded my garage full of Bluetooth speakers and things like that. Oh,
the Sears Shop Your Way days were so much fun. But yeah, the Shop Your Way card. So there's two, right? There's like the Shop Your Way card that only earns Shop Your Way points, and then there's the mythical one that some people have gotten over the years that earns thank you points somehow. And the promotions on these cards have been out of control. I mean, I didn't know actually that the Shop Your Way points card was getting the same kind of ridiculous promotions. I knew that the one that earned thank you points did. So I was surprised to hear about the fact that the useless Shop Your Way card is not so useless. Not surprised that they're doing crazy promotions, though, because that seems to be the thing on this year's cards.
Yeah. It's weird. Very interesting. I don't know how it's sustainable, but I guess they're.
Well, I do. There's only 6 people that have the card. They've got a marketing budget. There's like 6 people that have the card. So
that must be.
You got to divide that somehow. I mean,
so what do you think? Is it worth a 524 slot to pick up one of these cards?
Probably not. But at the same time, if you're way over 524, what do you got to lose? I guess, right? I mean, if you're at LOL 24, then why not?
Right. So next time at Sears, and you want to save like 5% on your overall purchase, sign up for the card there.
Exactly. I mean, it's a game. It's one of those gamble things. People. I know that there are people that love the Gap Banana Republic card, or at least did for a long time, because you could earn a lot back there. They did similar kind of stuff. Yeah. Yep. So, but it's one of those things that you're getting that card just hoping that there's going to be some crazy promotions, and the track record looks pretty good. So I mean, it's intriguing anyway. It was a fun find.
It was. So personally, I have so much trouble keeping track of the promotions on cards I already have.
Right.
I don't really want that kind of.
Stop it, Greg. I think you would have less trouble keeping track if you were like, 20% back at the grocery store. Like, yeah, okay. The rest of the cards are going back in the sock drawer, so to speak. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but if we're talking about 120 back on 600, I don't think you'll forget about that, will you?
Yeah, maybe not.
But my question
is, will those keep happening?
Well, right. Maybe, of course. Maybe. Yes. And nobody knows that. My question for
No.
John is, John, what are you doing with the Shop Your Way card? Like, how did that happen? like
Right,
now we
right.
know. So there's an excuse for the next person who applies. But I want to know what your story was, John. How did you?
Well,
end up
people,
with this?
right. I mean, people used to have a reason, which was to
Yeah.
get that and hope to be able to product change to the one that has city thank you points.
Thank you points, yeah.
But that, I think they shut down that avenue, but I'm not.
They did
100%
too,
sure
but
about
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Because
Okay.
nobody wants to apply for the Shop Your Way card to find out. Except now, maybe
Exactly. That's
they
why
will.
we don't know.
Now maybe they will. Thanks, John. So yeah, I'm thanking you on behalf of whoever it is that runs the credit card portfolio for the city Shop Your Way card, because they must have a hard time selling that sucker. So
Right.
thank you for them.
All
All right.
right.
So then what crazy thing next? What crazy thing did Radisson Rewards do this week, Greg?
Okay, so I have a booking with a Radisson hotel outside of the Americas, but I made that booking before the anti-merger.
Anti-merger.
You know what I'm talking about. So
I
Radisson
do.
broke up. Radisson broke up this past
With
summer.
itself. It broke up with itself.
Broke up with itself. It's now two rewards entities. There's Radisson Americas and Radisson, or Radisson Hotels or something like that, which is everywhere else except the
clear
Americas.
as day, right? Radisson Rewards and Radisson Americas. Glad they split those up and named them really carefully.
That's right. And so the issue is, so I now want to cancel that reservation, but when I log into my Radisson Americas account, it's not there.
Of course not, because it's not a Radisson Americas reservation.
Right.
It's a Radisson Rewards reservation.
Exactly.
Radisson Hotel.
But it was right. And so as instructed by Radisson with the anti-merger, I created an account with the same email address over at Radisson Non-Americas and hoped that this reservation would show up there. It did not. Okay, that's fine, because I could go to the email confirmation that has a link that says manage this reservation. No problem, right?
Sure.
Well,
you just click there, right?
Just click there and you get a 404 error. And
page not found, right?
Right.
So you have a reservation. You're pretty sure you have a reservation because you made one
Yeah.
and you have an email confirmation, but there's no record online that this actually happened, right?
Right. So you did some research and you found that there's a whole thread on Flyer Talk with people having the same issue and people going back and forth between the two Radissons trying to get them to resolve this issue, and they point fingers at each other and basically cause a lot of distress without solving many people's problems. So we reached out to a Radisson contact and asked them not just, what should I do in this example, but what should people do in general? And here's the crazy thing, if I'm remembering the answer right, they did some research and they came back with this. First, you need to cancel the reservation. And so the way to do that is either to contact the hotel.
Wait, stop. Before you even say that, first thing you need to do is cancel the reservation. Now, if you were thinking, oh yeah, that's easy. Remember, it doesn't show up on Radisson Americas.
No.
It doesn't show up on Radisson International, and it doesn't show up when you click the email. So there is no way to do that yourself online, right? You can't even find it. If you search, if you go to one of those Radisson sites and you put in the confirmation number in your name, it just doesn't show up. It's
exactly. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that part. Yeah. There's no way to pull it up. Either one of those sites, it doesn't show it. And in fact, the Radisson Americas won't let you look for it because you have to put in a location and it doesn't know anything about any locations outside the Americas. So
when the first step is cancel the reservation, that is not as easy as it sounds, right?
Correct. Well, I mean, this is the solution to how to cancel a reservation is step one, cancel a reservation. But they did say the way to do that is either through the hotel directly or through Radisson Non-Americas, their customer support. So you have to call either the hotel or the customer support. Not just cancel, but you have to get a cancellation confirmation number, because that's important, because then once you get through that hoop, you've got to call Radisson Americas, whereupon I am sure you're going to get a recording saying you really should try our online tool instead of waiting for hours on hold.
Right.
And
the irony.
finally get a person, and hopefully one who knows what they're doing, and you're supposed to give them that confirmation number of the cancellation and ask them to restore your points based on that. So that's the fun process that I need to
and then that doesn't
set
sound
out upon.
instant, because they're going to have
Oh
to
no.
submit that, and there's going to have to
Right.
be some research to make sure that you actually canceled a reservation and that was made with points and blah blah blah. So like you're going to give them the cancellation number, and they're going to pass it on to wherever it disappears to in the ether from there, and you're going to
Right.
wait however long it is that you have to wait until the points
Exactly.
magically come back.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the solution that was given to us from like a Radisson contact that knows that
Right.
we're bloggers that write about this. It wasn't like a
Exactly.
random customer service rep that was like, just get this off my plate. This was somebody who actually went and did the research and
Right.
came back and was like, yeah, this is how you do it. Like, here's a process. We have a process for that.
I mean,
here it is.
You know, I very much appreciate that he came back with
Me
an
too.
answer, and I have steps to try to follow.
Of
and
course.
hopefully it'll work. But it's nuts.
Well,
I mean,
and we asked for a process that people can follow. So we, you know, it was very clear. You didn't
Right.
say, you know, hey, I'm just, can you just get me my points back? It wasn't,
Exactly.
you know, you weren't looking for a favor. You were looking for how is this done so we can tell people. So of course, I mean, I expected to get whatever the official process is. I'm just making that point for readers to know that it's not like some random person made this up. Like this comes from a reputable source. So this is the process. And like, how nuts is that you have to reach out to the hotel? Now, if anybody who's ever canceled a Radisson reservation, you know that when you cancel it online, it does give you that cancellation number, right? It pops up with that little window. Now, I can imagine a random, you know, front desk or reservations employee at this hotel somewhere overseas who's got whatever's going on, looking at their phone, you know, listening to music, guests coming up to the desk or whatever, and is in the process of canceling your reservation. If they don't copy that cancellation number like right away, I don't know. Is it easy for them to go back and retrieve it later on and find
no
it like
idea.
once it's off the screen? Who knows, right? And so
Right.
you've got to
Right.
you got to rely on somebody out there to record that number right away and send it on to you so you can send it on to somebody else. Because remember, you can't look up the reservation yourself online. So it's not like you can look it up and see, okay, yeah,
Right.
it canceled and here's the cancellation number. You've just
Yeah.
got to trust somebody to do it for you. And
I mean,
send it
there's
to
a
you.
chance you'll get an email of the cancellation, but I wouldn't say it's a high percent chance. But
Right.
we'll find out soon.
Hopefully, yeah. So yeah, that is crazy.
All right.
And it's not all Radisson's fault, to be clear, because I mean it is kind of Radisson's fault, but not entirely, because whatever reason they had to split. I know that there's some limits between information sharing back and forth. So
Right.
I'm glad they have some sort of a process. Just would have wished for a slightly easier process.
Yes.
Or a heads up early on to be like, hey, if you want to cancel any reservations, do it before the split, because it's going to get difficult. It's going to be messy, which we could have guessed at, but you know, Madison could have told us.
I mean,
right?
just migrate all those reservations to the new Radisson program. That's the non-Americas, and the ones that are booked the other way, you know, migrate them to the Americas
It
one.
had to be tough though, because they couldn't create a loyalty account for you because you had to agree to whatever, information being shared with whoever. So it's like it was messy. I can sympathize with them for that, but crazy stuff. Crazy. Okay. So that was crazy this week. So Mattress running the numbers is don't book a Radisson. No, I'm sorry. Mattress running the numbers this week. We're going to talk about you again, Greg. What have you got going on for Mattress?
I'm all over this. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about Marriott, and I have a 3-night stay at a Marriott property coming up, and I booked it with 3 35K free night certificates. The hotel would have charged 30K points per night, but I'd always prefer, if it's close in that way, to use certificates that have a expiration date versus points that can stay forever. So so the question isn't about that part of it, but I also have a promotion in my Marriott account, which we've talked about before, which is if I stay one night on a paid rate, have one stay on a paid rate, I get a free night certificate, a 35K free night certificate. And if I do it again, another stay with a paid rate, I can get another 35K. So up to 2 35K free night certificates with 2 stays. I think it's valid, this promo, through, let's say, mid to late September, I think. And my stay is well within that period. So here's the thing. So the place I am going to be staying is going to be charging, the paid rates are $195 for the first of my 3 nights, or $325 per night for nights 2 and 3. So, question: should I cancel the free night certificates that I booked and book paid rate instead in order to get one of these free nights? Or, a little more complicated,
Okay.
should I
complexify it for me?
yeah, should I book the first one as a paid rate in my name, the second night as a award night in my wife's name, and the third night as a paid rate in my name, so that I would get 2 stays? Because if they're together in time, it will only count as 1 stay. But if they're separated like that, it'll count as 2 stays, and I'll get both free night certificates. What do you think?
So you're gonna pay, instead of using free night certificates that are expiring, you're gonna pay so you can get free night certificates that are gonna expire.
Right? Should I? That's the question.
And your existing free. Well, no, I mean, yes. If you were to do this, you would pay.
Yeah.
To not use your expiring free night certificates in order to get 2 more free night certificates that are going to expire. I say thumbs down on that, Greg. I say thumbs down on that. I mean, the free night certificates can be worth more, but unless you got to use, I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on when they expire. I'm assuming you're using free night certificates that expire January 3rd because they already got extended or whatever. And so if that's the case, you've only got a few months left to use those. So unless you've got a really like locked in use for those certificates, I wouldn't be going out of my way to earn 2 more at the risk of not being able to use the 2 that you currently have. I think $200 for a 35K cert is a good value. 3 and change is certainly a good value. And I definitely wouldn't pay $325 or something for the third night, right? So
right.
Certainly wouldn't pay that much for a free Marriott 35K free night certificate. I don't even care where you're going to use the thing. I probably wouldn't pay $325 for it, because who knows what's going to happen between now and then, and whether you'll actually be able to use it and blah, blah, blah. No, thumbs down. Keep your reservation, burn your certificates. That's what I say. Do you disagree with me?
Well, here's what I've done so far.
Okay.
I changed the first night of the reservation to the paid $195 rate. So the nice thing is Marriott lets you customize payments. And so I didn't have to cancel and rebook or anything. I just modified reservation, customized payments, and I was able to select, that first night as a paid rate.
I did not know you could do that. You could change whether it's a paid or an award night after the booking's been made.
Right. I mean, it's still, still the nights have to be available, and it's going to be based on the current rates and all that. But it was all true that it was all available that way. And so I just changed it to that $195 rate. And my thinking is, so one of the 3 free nights was actually expires later than January or whatever. So I would get back that one. That's good until, I can't remember, let's say March of next year.
Okay.
And I'll get, for $195, I'll get a free night that's good for a year. And I'm confident I'll use that to good value. Then I will pay with a Marriott gift card that I got for 20% off, thanks to taking advantage of a Amex offer a month or 2 ago. So I got some savings there. And so anyway, that's what I decided to do. I have another paid Marriott stay planned for a few weeks later, where I'll be earning that second free night. So there, I definitely wouldn't trade. I definitely wouldn't pay the $325. That'd be crazy.
All right. So I'm doing a little math here to kind of figure this out. So we've said in the past that if you were going to buy a 35,000 point certificate, you wouldn't buy it for 35,000 points, right? Because 35,000 points are more flexible.
Right.
So if you were going to buy that 35,000 point certificate for points, if you could buy it using your points, how many points would you pay for a 35,000 points certificate? How much is it worth to you? How many points is that worth?
I don't know. Let's just say 20K to throw out something.
So you're going to pay 190.
Really pay that.
Okay, you know what? Let's not even do that. Well, I'll come back to that exercise in a second. Let's just say, let's say we value the certificate at a full 35,000 points. You're going to pay $195 for 35,000 points, essentially. So you're looking at And I know you got your discounted gift card, blah, blah, blah. Let's hold that aside for a second. So that's 5.5, like, well, almost 6/10. Let's say almost 6/10 of a cent for a Marriott point. Are you a buyer of Marriott points for 6/10 of a cent? I mean, I know that they can be worth more.
No, but I'm really buying 2 free night certificates because I'm
you're
getting
buying
back
yours
the one that
back.
I'd already used. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm getting another one. And so I think it's worth spending. Let's just call it $200 because yes, I have the discount, but I'm also going to pay taxes and stuff. So let's just call it an even $200 for 2 free night certificates that I'm pretty confident I'll use to good value. And so, yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy with the decision.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I can't argue that it's a horrible decision. I was trying to question the wisdom of it, but I guess that's probably okay if you're particularly confident that you'll use them well. So I have a hard time getting really excited about the Marriott 35K certs. And the difference here is that you frequently use those to really good value. And
Right.
I usually can use them to better than $95 value, but I don't always find the same great values that you do for 35K certs.
Well, I'm so lucky in a way that my niece lives somewhere near a incredible property that goes for actually 30K usually, and that range. And so I can always use the free night certificates, and they usually sell for about $300 a night. And so I'm sure we'll be visiting her quite often, and so no problem getting great value from those free night certificates for me.
There you go. All right, so we ran it. We ran the numbers, and Greg came out on top there with his switcheroo for the first night, and a great tip about being able to modify the reservation without having to cancel it and rebook it. I only recently found that you could do that to change your room type. I didn't know you could do that without canceling and then rebooking, because I had booked one room type but decided I wanted a different type, and I didn't actually have to cancel in order to make that switch. So that was nice, especially, it worked out well. So, all right, that finishes up Mattress running the numbers. Let's move in then to the main event, and it's pretty fitting here because the main event has to do with mattresses. Tell us about the main event, Greg.
All right, main event. So right now, there's an opportunity to get top tier Hyatt elite status easily. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because we talked about at the beginning of this year, even at the end of last year, we talked ad nauseum about easy pass to Hyatt top tier elite status because of a bunch of overlapping promos. And now there's a promotion that's back, which overlaps with something else, which makes it possible to get top tier status again very easily. So if you missed out on the earlier options, you still have a chance. And let me summarize how that goes, and then we'll talk about what you get with Hyatt's top tier elite status, but also we'll debate, is it really worth doing all of this for it? And I think that's a very legitimate question. But first, so here's how the plan works. You need to sign up for a new World of Hyatt credit card. And the reason is that the new welcome bonus for that card, it not only includes points that you get, but you also get the ability to earn double elite qualifying nights on your stays this year. So that means if you get approved for this credit card, then somehow magically on your Hyatt account, when you stay at a Hyatt, let's say you stay 5 nights, you'll earn 10 nights credit as if you had spent 10 nights there instead of 5. So you're getting double elite nights. And this year, Hyatt is only requiring 30 elite nights to get to top tier status. They usually require 60. So we're kind of back in the situation we were at the beginning of this year and at the end of last year, where kind of half of the, or 1/4 of the usual actual nights spent at hotels will get you to top tier status. But there's more. The Hyatt credit card gives you 5 elite nights automatically, and it gives you elite nights for spend. And so if you max out the sign-up bonus with $15,000 spend before the end of this year, that's a lot. But if you do that, you'll not only end up with 60,000 Hyatt points total, but you'll have you'll earn a free night certificate, category 1 through 4 free night certificate from 15K spend, but you also earn 2 elite nights with every 5K of spend. So that's 6 additional elite nights. Anyway, the bottom line is that with 15K of spend and the new credit card, on that new credit card,
assuming that you get approved for the card now, right? Not existing cards, but like people who got approved starting the 16th of this month, right?
Right. With the offer that mentions the double elite nights, you'll only need to stay 10 nights in a Hyatt by the end of the year. Only 10 nights to get globalist elite status, which is their top tier elite status.
That's amazing. 10 nights.
Right.
10.
Right.
10. That's not even usually enough for anything with Hyatt, right? It's like if you discover a status maybe or something, like that's not 10 nights is a very, very slim requirement. And it's worth noting that after you've done the 15,000 spend on the Hyatt card, you'll earn a free category 1 to 4 free night certificate that you can use. So then you're really going to need, well, not really 9 nights, right? Because you're doubling you double that, right? So
you'll only need
9
paid nights or nights booked with points. That's right.
Points, and you'll have more than enough points in your account to cover 9 nights because
if you're booking a low category hotel,
yes, exactly, a category 1 hotel, then you would have more than enough for your 9 nights. So basically, you could look at this if you can book a category 1 hotel as a credit card offer that gives you essentially Hyatt elite status, right? Hyatt globalist status. If you need to spend,
where
15K spent, right?
That's right. So part of it's like thinking of it as part of the minimum spend requirement to get that globalist status benefit is that you have to spend 10 nights at a Hyatt.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Just look at it that way.
That's not a bad requirement if you're staying at a nice Hyatt. How long it lasts. So once you get globalist status, you have that status for the rest of this year, all of next year, and through February of the year after that. So that's how long it lasts. So not as good as if you had done this at the beginning of the year, because then you would have had most of this year to enjoy the status if you had done any traveling this year. But otherwise, a decent amount of time. So, I guess one other thing I should point out, if you're not a big spender, you can still do this with 5K spend. So 5K spend will unlock sort of most of the credit card bonus of points. So you'll get a 30K bonus, really 35K bonus points. So you'll have a total of 40K points with 5K spend. And, excuse me, wow, got something caught. And if you just spend 12 nights in Hyatts, that'll be enough to get you where you need to go.
12 nights.
So you can do it with more modest spend as well.
Right, which totally reasonable, I think, to do $5,000 spend on the card, and so if you can't hit that 15K, 5K spend in 12 nights is still quite a low hurdle. Now, I would recommend if you can find a way to do the 15K spend to do it, because you earn a free category 1 to 4 night at Hyatt each calendar year that you do 15K spend, and if you're going to be going after globalist status, might as well get yourself globalist benefits. If you're hanging on to the certificate long enough to use it after you've got globalist status, I guess. But I think it's worth spending towards that type of thing on the card and earning some valuable points along the way. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. And if you're having trouble meeting the spend, there are lots of different ways to do that. Of course, obviously there's manufactured spending techniques that some people do that, have different varying levels of risk. Whether or not you want to do that is certainly kind of a personal decision for you. We've written a lot lately about opportunities to buy coins from the U.S. Mint and resell them. Now, Chase added some language a while back that indicated that those may not earn rewards or may code as cash advances. Haven't yet so far. And there's risk in buying those and reselling those for sure. So there's a lot of reading to be done there and determining whether or not that's for you. But I think in the last month here, there's just been a hot streak where I think we've probably written about or seen more than $10,000 in coins that one could have purchased and resold and potentially hit the spend. So there are ways to get there, even if you feel like that's a high hurdle. But is it worth doing that? Is it worth jumping over those or jumping through those hoops and taking whatever risks come along with them in order to get globalist status until February of 2023, right? I mean, is globalist
Right.
status
Right.
worth it?
Well, yeah, right. So let's talk about first what globalist status gives you. Actually, let me let you summarize that, and then I'll just chime in if I think you're missing.
Okay, so the key benefits of having globalist status are, well, number one, Hyatt takes good care of globalists. And I think that if you ask anybody who's ever been a globalist, they will probably have some incredible customer service story to share with you to tell you, oh, wow, yeah, this one time, blah, blah, blah. So that's benefit number one. That's a soft benefit we can't really quantify, but I think if you ask anybody who's had the status, they'll have a story there. But in terms of actual benefits, so first you get you get free breakfast or club lounge access at hotels worldwide. So if your hotel has a lounge, you get lounge access. If it doesn't have a lounge, you get a full breakfast. A full breakfast. Sometimes you can take that as a room service breakfast, so that can be really nice. You get guaranteed upgrades, or I shouldn't say guaranteed upgrades. You get upgrades to the best available room, including a standard suite. So if there's a standard suite available when you check in, you should get upgraded to it. Many times globalists do get upgraded to those suites. Now, of course, there are times probably when people will tell you they didn't for one reason or another, but there are also times where you'll hear about globalists getting upgraded to really nice suites that are even beyond the standard. So the standard suite is the program terms. Then you get a 4 p.m. late checkout. That can be super convenient if you need to stick around for a little bit longer. You get free parking on award stays. Now, if you've ever tried to park your car overnight in New York City or in San Francisco or places like that where parking is expensive, that benefit alone can be huge. I've stayed at the Andaz Fifth Ave a bunch of times, and I think their nightly parking rate is like $70-ish. Park Hyatt New York was, I think, 90 or something, and didn't pay that because I had globalist status or guest of honor stay or whatever. So speaking of guest of honor stays, if you got globalist status, you can book stays for other people and they get globalist benefits. You can book a stay using your points for someone else, friend or a family member. And when you book it as a guest of honor stay, then they get free parking on that award stay and breakfast and potential upgrade to a suite, lounge access, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. I thought you were going to forget that one. I was holding that one to mention it because we often kind of forget it because it's not a perk for yourself as much as to be super generous to friends or family and set them up for a great stay. And that's really nice. I gave my sister a birthday present of a stay at a Hyatt and, booked her as a guest of honor. And so she's going to enjoy, all of those benefits that you just talked about. And that's cool because it doesn't cost me more for her to get those benefits. It just costs me the point rate.
Right. And we traveled with friends a couple of years ago, and they were on a guest of honor stay, and they had never stayed at a hotel where they had club lounge access, and the place we stayed was a place that typically would have been out of their budget for a trip like that. So they were thrilled to bits with the places we stayed and the benefits that they got. And so it's nice to be able to do that for friends, people that you like, and want to be able to surprise with something like that. So the Globalist has a whole bunch of good benefits. And then there are the milestone benefits. And that's part of the key, I think, here in questioning whether or not globalist status is worth it, because one of the things that people frequently associate with globalist status isn't actually a globalist benefit, and that's those guaranteed suite upgrades. And so it used to be that was just a perk of globalist status, but it's not that way anymore. Nowadays, if you stay, is it 50 nights, you get the first two, right? And then 60 nights, you get two more, I think, if I remember correctly. So if you're in 50 elite nights, and then again at 60 elite nights, you get 2 guaranteed suite upgrades. And the way those work is when you book your stay, you can apply one of those suite upgrades to confirm a suite for a stay of up to 7 nights in advance right away when you book your stay, if it's available to be used. And so that's an awesome benefit, but it's not a globalist benefit. It's a milestone benefit. So you have to get to 50 nights in order to have that. So it's important to mention that because I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there who have heard about that benefit before and might be thinking about it. That's not going to come with it if you only do 10 nights. If you stay 10 nights this year and do your 15K spend, you're not going to get that guaranteed suite upgrade.
Absolutely correct. Yep. You will earn some club upgrade awards that'll be totally useless to you. Because you get free access to the club anyway. And so that's kind of disappointing, but you might earn some of them before getting to Globalist.
Possibly.
I think at 20 nights you'll get some. So, so you might be able to have the benefit of it while doing,
Maybe.
maybe your final 5 nights or so,
Yeah,
depending on
maybe.
how you
And,
arrange things.
and it's worth mentioning that once you hit that 30 nights that are required for globalist status this year. So when you follow Greg's plan, you do the 15K spend and you stay 10 nights, you'll have earned 30 elite nights or 30 tier nights, as Hyatt calls them. And along with that, you'll get a free category 1 to 4 certificate, free night certificate for a category 1 to 4 hotel. And that's in addition to the one you get for doing 15K spend on the credit card. So you get a category 1 to 4 free night certificate for 15,000 spent on the credit card, and you get another one for hitting 30 elite nights with Hyatt. So
Right.
you'll end up with that too.
Right.
So there's a lot of benefit here in terms of going after globalist status. I mean, it's a pretty valuable status. A lot of these nice Hyatts, breakfast for 2 people each day, could easily run you $100. And so that benefit can be very valuable if you like staying at those higher end Hyatts. Parking, suites now and then when you get them. I mean, that's really the ideal type of elite treatment if you want great treatment when you stay places. I mean, this
Right.
is it, right?
It is, and it doesn't compare, people who have only experienced like Marriott or Hilton's elite status. Hyatt is just, it's more universally applied. There
Right.
aren't hotels, or there aren't many hotels that try to get around what they're supposed to do. And there's plenty that go above and beyond. It's not unusual to have a welcome gift in the room, and have
And a
other,
nice welcome gift. It's not usually
sometimes,
just
yeah.
like a bottle of water. Sometimes it'll be a bottle of water and some fruit or something, but sometimes it'll be really nice. They give you a nice little spread of food or cake or chocolates or whatever that can be quite nice. So yeah, they do that. And then sometimes they'll go above and beyond. I know I've heard stories of this not being the case in the US, but abroad perhaps, where if the lounge is closed, they'll do something in order to make up for that. I know our own Stephen Pepper recently stayed at a Hyatt abroad where the lounge was closed, and I read what he wrote about it. They apparently offered a dinner buffet.
I know, that
like
surprised me. Yeah.
a dinner buffet. And I looked at the pictures and I was like,
Yeah.
that is dinner. That's not a club lounge spread. That was a
Right.
dinner spread that they put on because the lounge was closed.
Yes. That was great. Unusual though. I wouldn't expect that.
I wouldn't
Normally.
expect that either. But there are certainly places where they'll do something to go again, that above and beyond. That particular response, not necessarily usual, but the effort to go above and beyond is
Yes.
less unusual with Hyatt.
It is.
Right?
It is. It is. And this is from 2 guys who've had Hyatt top tier status, at least on and off, for a number of years. I've really enjoyed it, and have also had near top tier status with Marriott, and have occasionally enjoyed it. It's a very
Right.
different experience. I mean, Marriott, some hotels do go above and beyond, but
Sure.
it's just much more hit or miss with
Much
that
more
chain.
hit or miss. Yeah. So, all right. So it's got great benefits. However, I have
Yes.
to ask you, is it worth going after this? Because I mean, I wrote a post this week about how anybody without status can easily book suites with Hyatt. Hyatt offers premium suite
Yeah.
awards, and this also makes Hyatt stand out versus its competitors in the sense that it is both A, possible, and B, reasonably priced to book
Right.
premium suites. You can book not only standard suites, but you can book a premium suite. In some cases, that can be really nice. I mean, I used one
Right.
example in the post of a congressional suite in Washington, D.C. It's like a 1,500 square foot suite that you can book for double the points that it would cost for a standard room. So for the cost of booking 2 rooms, you get yourself a room that's probably as big as at least 3 rooms, right?
Yeah. And now Hyatt's also starting to open up those destination residence properties to booking with points, and these are like vacation rentals. Sometimes they're full houses, and so they mapped those different like types of rentals to the idea of suites and premium suites, and so I saw premium suites that were like 4-bedroom enormous houses, available through there, just as an example. But even some standard suites, which are much cheaper to book, 2 or 3-bedroom, some really nice looking properties. So yes, that's very unusual. And as you said, you don't need that status to get in a suite. You just need either to use points to upgrade a standard cash rate, or you need points to book the whole thing on a points reservation, and you could do it either of those ways. So why bother? Why do all this to get status?
Yeah, I mean that it is a question that deserves an answer, because the premium suites in particular with Hyatt, or the standard suites also, the fact that you can book them easily and in general reasonably is a good argument for not going after status, because sometimes those premium suites also come with club lounge access.
Sometimes,
so that's not going to be the case at every single Hyatt, but in some cases that's the case. So if that happens to work out in the places where you want to go, can be a great deal. And as I wrote about this week, in some instances you can book a standard rate for a standard room, which might be relatively reasonable, and upgrade for 9,000 points a night to an out of control suite. So you can get essentially the same level of benefit as a globalist for a reasonable price oftentimes, or again, you could do it entirely on points. So I don't, and you can also, by the way, do that with a club lounge room. So with 3,000 points a night plus the standard rate, you can get yourself a club lounge room. So you can get yourself club lounge access for 3,000 points a night on top of the paid rate, right?
Right. What you're not going to get without globalist status involved is the free parking on award nights, free breakfast in a place that doesn't have a lounge, unless for some reason the room rate includes it. What else? I feel like I'm missing like one important one. You'll still have to pay the resort fee if it's a paid rate.
Right.
So on award rates, nobody pays the resort fee. Mm-hmm. So which is actually another great benefit of Hyatt, and Hilton, by the way, also does that.
Well, and it's worth noting that the points I just made about premium suites, the premium suite upgrades, really the key of my post this week, was that you can get good value on those paid rates where you pay for a standard room and then you upgrade using points, and you can upgrade using points to a club lounge room, to a standard suite, to a premium suite. But where I would say that there's a benefit in being a globalist is some of those places where I'd like to stay can be pretty darn expensive. And so, for example, at the Grand Hyatt Kauai, if you were able to, and it's a resort, so you can't, but if you were able to upgrade the standard room to a suite or a club lounge room, it's still going to cost you like $750 a night most of the time. And I'm not going to pay $750 a night. So I want my globalist status so I can use 25,000 points for a standard room and get club lounge access. Or if I want to get crazy, the 50,000 points for a premium suite.
Right. Well, I mean, without globalist though, you could do the points suite. Right, you could just book yourself into the Grand Hyatt
and get the but I guess my point is with globalist status, I'll also get the club lounge access and the free parking and all the rest of those things that you wouldn't get. Gotcha. So without paying.
You're right. So I'd argue what you really want more than getting globalist status is a good friend to get globalist status, because one of the things that you can do is another benefit that Hyatt has that not all hotel programs have, is you can freely move your points to someone else. Like once per month, you can move your points for free. And so if you have a friend with global status willing to do a tiny bit of work for you, you can give them points required to make a points booking for you. They can book it for you as a guest of honor reservation, and you get all those benefits. Now, I can't remember, can they book a suite for you as a guest of honor, or just a standard room? Do you know?
Well, that's a good question.
We know they can't apply their suite upgrade award.
That's a good question.
They might be able to.
I don't know. Using all points, I'm not sure. That's a great question. I'll have to dig into that a little bit.
So that seems ideal. But if you don't have a friend with globalist status or willing to get it, and you're interested in these perks like the free parking, guaranteed breakfast, blah blah blah, should you do it? Well, before we sort of answer that, let's talk about what you're giving up potentially is the 100K Sapphire Preferred offer that has been around for, I don't know, a couple months now, I guess, and is going on for at least another month or more. And I mean, I guess you could sign up for both, but without talking about elite status, the Sapphire Preferred sign up offer is like ridiculously better than the Hyatt sign up offer. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because you get 100,000 points with only 4,000 spent. And if you want 60,000 Hyatt points, you could transfer those to Hyatt, have spent $11,000 less, and still have 40,000 points left over. So
exactly.
without it, 44,000 when you include the points
Right.
from spend, because Hyatt is very misleading with how they're advertising, or Chase or whoever it is that made the decision to advertise the welcome bonus on the Hyatt card as though it's all bonus points, even though 15,000 of that is really your standard spending points. They don't bother to advertise the Sapphire Preferred bonus as a 104K bonus. It's 100,000 bonus points.
That's right.
And the Hyatt offer, really, even though it says 60,000, it's really a 45,000 point bonus offer. So really, you're talking about a difference of 55,000 points, right? I mean, it's a big. I mean, that'll buy you a couple of really nice Hyatt nights or 11 Category 1 nights. So,
yeah. I mean, the Chase, the Sapphire offer is huge. The Hyatt offer is like the worst we've seen in a long time for the Hyatt card, not counting the fact that you're getting double elite nights. So if you value those double elite nights, it's a good, solid offer. If you don't, I mean, I wouldn't even consider getting the card right now if you're not going to be chasing globalist status. And do not get it in order to chase like a mid-tier status, like Explorer status. Hyatt, unfortunately, their mid-tier and lower tier status are worth very little. It's only their top tier globalist status that's worth spending any money to get to.
And I was originally going to kind of roast your point on that this week when you're basically like, but there's no real benefit of Explorist. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I knew that Explorers didn't come with much, but when I looked at it versus Discoverist status, the status below it, I was like, wow.
2 p.m. late checkout, right?
No, they both get 2 p.m.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I was like, so it's an extra half a point per dollar spent is what it comes down to. Like, an extra half a point per dollar spent if you're Explorist over Discoverist. And Discoverist you can get just by having the Hyatt credit card or staying, I don't know, not very many nights. So and those statuses just don't come with much benefit. So agreed there that there's not much to be had with those mid-tier Hyatt statuses. And I agree with you that this is the poorest, apart from the double elite night credits, this is the poorest offer we've seen on the Hyatt credit card in years. And it's been going on basically all year. I think this changed in January when I looked back at it to this really poor offer that sounds like it's 60,000 points, but isn't really. But I am going to disagree with you that you shouldn't get the card unless you're going to go after globalist status. I think going after globalist status is the number one reason to get the card. The number two reason to get the card is you're about to be out of 524 slots and you know you're going to want the card long term. So
I gotcha. Yes. Yeah. So but
you should probably still go after it.
I think the main reason you'd want that card long term is because you're interested in its ability to help you get to elite status through spend. I mean, it's a good hotel card if you just use it for the free category 1 to 4 certs that you get automatically and the ones you get with 15K spend, but it's not, it's not great card at that level, in my opinion. Where it's great is once you're convinced that globalist status is the way to go, and you're not going to be getting quite 60 nights at Hyatt hotels each year, having this as a backup to say, I can still keep my status by doing a certain amount of spend on this card each year. To me, that's worth a lot. And that's why I have the card. And I love that ability.
But I think it's worth mentioning that that's only worth, in my opinion, it's only worth a lot to people who are going to manufacture a lot of spend, because, spending 5,000 for 2 elite nights, questionable on a card that only earns 1 Hyatt point per dollar. The opportunity cost, if you're doing that instead of spending on a card that earns 2 or 2.5% cash back or spending towards a new welcome offer, is high. I mean, it's not cheap. You're not getting those elite nights cheaply if there's an opportunity cost. Now, if you're somebody who can easily spend a lot of money through whatever techniques it is that you use, then yes, I think it's nice to have that around. It makes sense. So I agree that it is a good tool for getting yourself to elite status. It can be a decent tool for its annual free night cert. And keep in mind that Hyatt allows you to gift those free night certificates. Now, if you're going after globalist status, you're probably not going to want to do that. But if, for example, like my wife, you open the card thinking that, okay, well, I'll get the card now because I'm about to be over 524, so it's a good time to get it. And that way I'll have it down the road when my husband's globalist status runs out, because he's not going to stay 60 nights next year. Then in that case, you could gift those free night certificates that you're in this year or to someone going after the status next year, so to speak, if you needed to. So there's potential benefits there. But generally speaking, I agree, worth getting if you want to go after globalist status. And globalist status, I think, is worth going after because you're essentially getting for 10 nights, you're getting a status that normally requires 60. So even if you're not going to use it to death next year, you're going to probably get more out of it than whatever it's going to cost you to go after it without much effort. If you're going to stay at some Hyatt hotels, without much effort, some effort, but not much effort. And then who knows, maybe you'll get an opportunity to do some sort of matching down the road that works out to be good. You're not going to get very many opportunities in this game to pull out a top tier status like this for this little investment.
Right. That's true. And with couples traveling who frequently travel together, I think a great opportunity right now is to have one person sign up for the Hyatt card and pursue the status, while the other one signs up for, Chase Ultimate Rewards cards like the Sapphire and the Ink cards that have huge welcome bonuses where you get points that, among other things, can transfer to Hyatt 1-to-1. And then they're also more flexible because you could also transfer them to United or Aeroplan or Southwest or what have you.
Now, here's a question I have to ask myself quickly. So, we were talking about the Sapphire Preferred and the fact that you get the 100,000 points. And so that's worth what, like 20 category 1 Hyatt nights. So that welcome bonus with only 4,000 spend, by the time you finish spending the 4,000, it'll give you almost enough for 21 nights. So 2/3 of the way to globalist status, if you just wanted to take that and invest it directly in category 1 stays, so to speak, right? So that gets you pretty close. And then if you were able
you would
to
only need 9 more nights.
Right, exactly. I mean, you're pretty close there, and 9 more nights. So that's another 45,000 ultimate rewards points. And there are other cards out there that could get you more than 45,000 points. I mean, I guess it'd have to be the ink cards that have a lot of spend. So at that point, you're getting closer to the amount of spend you got to do on the Hyatt card anyway. But there are definitely other paths here, and then
but the Hyatt path was assuming you're going to spend 10 actual nights at a Hyatt, like paid or using points. And so if we say you're planning to do that anyway, with paid nights or something, then I think you have a good point that this is similar. I mean, the Hyatt one will leave you with points left over if you don't use them for those 10 nights. But anyway, it's at least in the ballpark of getting you there just through points if you're willing to check into category 1 hotels for long periods of time.
Right. Which may not be so bad, but
no, I mean, there's some decent ones
nice,
out there.
Yeah, nice low category Hyatts out there. Decent, like I said, decent low category Hyatts out there in some places. They could be convenient and great value. That's the thing that I guess we didn't talk about because it's not really a globalist thing, but great value for points with Hyatt. Incredible value for points.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like any of the other chains in that way that the points required for a nice hotel are so much lower than most other chains that it really makes it incredible deal to get Hyatt points. And it's my top preferred way of using Chase Ultimate Rewards is transferring them to Hyatt. I do that all the time because I often get great value from Hyatt points. So that, I think that's a great thing. Those category 1 to 4 certs are arguably better than like things like the Marriott 35K free night certs. If you look at our post on the best category 1 to 4 Hyatts, you'll see some really desirable looking properties there. Plus, Hyatt is going to soon be moving to having peak pricing at certain times, peak and off peak, like Marriott does. But unlike Marriott, the category 1 to 4 certificates will still work even when a hotel is peak priced. And Marriott instead says, no, these are 35K certs, which means if a property that's standard 35K goes up to 40K during peak times, you can't use those certs there. So that's another nice advantage of the Hyatt program.
Very good. Very good. So worth going after. I think if you can get the card, it's worth going after. The double elite nights makes a big difference over having to actually do 30 nights this year. And getting the credit card gives you the 5 elite nights and the doubles. So that reduces an already reduced path. And so that's really the key. And if you aren't eligible for the card, you're over 524, you already have it, you got the bonus within the last 24 months, whatever the case may be, then there's nothing compelling, any more compelling this week than last week in terms of going after Hyatt Elite status. I'm a little disappointed that Hyatt hasn't released some sort of a general offer to the general public for more elite credit or something that makes it easier to get towards globalist status. Again, I would have liked to have seen a public offer for that, but I think a cunning way to get people signed up for the card and invested in the program. I give them credit there because that was a smart play, I think, from their perspective. Disappointing from mine.
Right. And let me back up though. Before we say this is worth pursuing, it's worth pursuing if you're confident you're going to be staying at Hyatt's often enough to take good advantage of the benefits. And I'm not talking about staying at the cheap Hyatts that give you free breakfast anyway. You're not going to get many benefits at those.
Correct.
At best case, you'll get free parking, maybe if it's a city one. But usually they have free parking anyway.
Right.
So you have to be staying at like mid to high tier Hyatts, plans to stay a lot. Don't do this just for the game of getting top tier status if you don't think you're actually going to get a lot of value from it.
Good point. But I will, my one bone to pick there is you don't probably have to stay at those mid to high tier Hyatts a lot to get more value than what you're putting into it, right? I mean, if you are, great, you will. That's true. But one good stay at an expensive Hyatt where you get breakfast and free parking, could probably pay for those 10 nights. So, depending on how long your stay is, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
Ins and outs. But you don't actually have to stay all that.
Right. And hopefully the 10 nights will be a legitimate, fun trip, that you'll enjoy spending those 10 nights. And so that would be then a win all around as well.
Right.
So pretty cool.
Very good. Okay. Well, then that brings us into the post roast. And I heard that Greg didn't do his homework. So I am going to give Greg not really a post roast, but a reader roast. So a reader roast that's going to lead into the question of the week. And I know you saw this, but I don't know if you've thought about it very much yet. So the comment from the reader, the roasted, the comment that roasts us to collectively really is,
all right,
I think you and all of the points bloggers grossly underestimate the value of Hilton points and bonuses. So there's a roast that you are grossly undervaluing Hyatt bonuses, or I'm sorry, rather Hilton bonuses and Hilton points, right? So that's the point that the reader made.
Okay.
Now they went on to explain why, and it was a long explanation that I feel like kind of warrants a post. And so I may end up looking at this and seeing how we can turn this into a post, because I thought it was an interesting argument. It was quite long, but the essence of the argument was that there are 3 different Hilton credit cards. And so a couple playing in 2-player mode, if they were each willing to get the 3 cards, they would get 6 Hilton credit cards between the 2 of them. And the argument that was put forth was that you get an average return on spend of around 5x because you can earn 7x at restaurants with one of the cards and 6x at US supermarkets and gas and 3x everywhere else. And so he did some math and added it all up and said that, with a couple playing in 2-player mode in year 1, you could pretty easily end up with 1.1 million Hilton points and a few free night certificates. And so you went on to say, okay, the 2-player mode, they do that in year 1, and then they use those points at a place like the Grand Wailea that costs $700 a night. And between the points and the free night certificates, you get yourself a $15,000 stay playing in 2-player mode in year 1 with, I don't know, 30,000 spent or something. He was positing something along those lines. So what do you think, Greg? Are we undervaluing Hilton points and Hilton bonuses? Because you can get a lot out of these bonuses, right?
Yeah. No, I think we pride ourselves in grossly underestimating welcome bonuses, right? I mean, so if you look at our best offers credit card page, we have an estimated first year value, and that's based on a very conservative estimate of how much value you may get out of your points. And like if you look at the Hilton cards, for example, we're basing that on the fact that when I did some research, I found that on average in the US, various markets within the US, I only saw on average about 0.4 of a cent value per point with Hilton points. So that's the number that is at least currently used to estimate the value of a, let's say, a 100,000 point sign up bonus. Then we say, oh, it's worth $400 for that first year. And but we are very, very, very aware that you could get way, way more value than that by using those points at a better value. So, there are places, and that's why we love points. That's why we love miles, is because there are ways to use them to outsize value. And so, yes, he was pointing out some great properties where if you can book them at the standard rate, which, by the way, you published a post on how to open up a Hilton calendar to find those standard points rates at Hilton's, which it's because it's not obvious how to find that calendar. But if you book your stay at those standard rates, you can get some incredible value at some Hilton properties. It's just not what you'll get if you just randomly book hotels with points. You're not going to get great value that way. But that's true with all of the programs. all of the programs that are point-based and not like tied to a cash rate. Like Southwest, I mean, it's pretty much tied to a cash rate, so you're not going to get grossly outsized value. But let's look at the Hyatt offer. So those 60,000 points that you'll earn by the time you're done with all the spend, you could easily use for
I looked up 2 nights at the Park Hyatt New York recently, and it was $975 a night or 30,000 points a night. So 2 nights, you get yourself after
almost
tax more than $2,000.
More than 2,000. I was going to mention the Alila Big Sur, Ventana Big Sur, which I think those nights start at 1,500.
I think so, yeah.
Let's say you're more likely to spend about 2,000. So that's $4,000 from that bonus. Or if you use the Sapphire Preferred 100K offer, you're talking about 3 nights there. You're talking about 4 nights in a 25K property that can often cost, $800 a night. I mean, there are some incredible values to be had across the board, not just with Hilton, but yes, he had some good examples.
He did have some good examples, but you want your bloggers to grossly undervalue rather than grossly overvalue, right? Because if we grossly overvalue, if we based everything on what you can get at the Grand Wailea in Hawaii, that may or may not have, 21, he used an example in the email of 21 straight nights at, like $15,000, and like good luck finding 21 straight nights at the Grand Wailea where they actually have standard room availability, it's probably not going to happen. But you don't want us to base it on that thing that you A, probably can't get, and B, probably aren't going to do every single year, and C, might not even be on the radar or something interesting to everybody. You want us to base it on what you can expect to get at the Hampton Inn, so that you have that much as a floor or more. And yes, you can get a lot more. You can certainly get a lot more. But I also want to caution you not to value your earnings based on how much outsized value you can get, because in the case of Hilton points, you can buy them for half a cent each. So if you're talking about, if you're going to do the funny math and say you're going to get an average of 5 Hilton points per dollar spent, that's not terrible. But since you can buy them for half a cent each all the time, that's like 2.5% cash back. You can get that much or more depending on what kind of a card you open. And if you can get, for example, the Premium Rewards card with Platinum Honors or the Alliant card, you can earn that much and then buy the points when you need them and want them, and use the cash back for something else when you want. So I would caution you not to value everything based on your redemptions. But at the same time, like Greg said, we are well aware you can get a lot more value out of all of the points than what we list as like our baselines. And in fact, I would say probably both of us focus on those opportunities, generally speaking, to use our points for far more value.
Right. So look for our new tagline. We proudly grossly underestimate the value of rewards.
That's right. Proud of it. we're not going to oversell you on something by saying, hey, look, you can do this, because that's not going to apply to everybody. We're going to sell you on the fact that, look, you can count on this much or more.
Right.
And I think that's a better way to
Yeah.
look at it.
I mean, beware of the websites that declare, you're going to get $15,000 value from this sign up offer. They are looking at those kind of extreme cases. And yes, it's possible theoretically to get that much value, but in reality, you probably won't.
Right.
But,
And I mean, we love those extreme cases, and we'll highlight those extreme cases too when we find them and book them and stay at them, and and we'll highlight that, wow, this was awesome. But I'm not going to tell you should get the Hilton card too, because you too can stay at the Conrad in Bora Bora and save $2,000 or whatever. I'm going to tell you, that you could do this with those points, but I'm not going to value the points based on that one fringe example. All right. So there you go. That was the question of the week. That's it. Thank you guys very much for being out there with us today. We always enjoy and appreciate having you listening with us. If you enjoyed what we're talking about and you want to get on the email list so you can see whatever that post is that I cook up about the Hilton thing, you want to go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe. Again, that's frequentmiler.com/subscribe to get on our email list. Follow us on Twitter and join our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group. Wherever you're watching or listening, hit subscribe. Ding the notification bell, hit like, leave us a comment. We appreciate all that stuff. It helps with whatever algorithms out there suggest this show to other people. So thank you very much for that. And we'll see you guys again next week.
And don't forget, today is Black Shirt Day. Whatever day you're listening to this
show. Doesn't matter. It's Black Shirt Day.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Take care.